Get you through my morning every day. Every morning.
Ladies and gentlemen, Adelaide's Jody and Hayesy on Nova.
Jodes, each and every year I make New Year's resolutions, and I'll tell you what, I have never stuck to them ever.
No.
Absolutely ever. This year, and this is a bit more of a serious space for me, this year a big New Year's resolution is to aggressively cut back on alcohol.
Okay.
And we often joke around about having big nights and all those types of things, but I'm 39 years old now. I have a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old, and I'm at the stage in my life now where I'm starting to look back and I'm starting to think, what's my relationship with alcohol like? And where's it at? Because I think in theory I would say to myself, no, I have a good relationship. I rarely overdo it. But when I really, really dig deep and sort of discover what's going on, it's probably not a very good relationship. And I'm talking about, to give you an example, if I look back at all of the really bad things that have happened in my life, whether it be personal, relationships, work, and particularly where I've done something really, really wrong, and I've had to answer for myself and try and fix things, it's 100% involved alcohol.
I don't think you're on your Pat Malone there.
Yeah.
I think there are so many people who look back at their lives and go, everything that is crappy that has happened can be attributed to doing something stupid.
Yeah. So not just that. And that's the big nights. But what I'm talking about for my particular lifestyle is, and I'm a sucker for routine. I need a schedule, and I'm to the second with my schedule.
And I have to say, you're very disciplined during the week. Like you won't touch a drop of alcohol during the week, will you?
No, and that's the thing. But Friday comes, and
Hello.
100%. But,
it's me again.
but we joke around about it. But that's what it's like in my head. So if I was to have 1 or 2, maybe 3 beers, I think that's fine. But that doesn't happen. So what happens in my life right now, and I've had a lot of discussions with my wife about it because it's ruining my weekends and it's ruining my only day off, and that is Saturday.
Yeah.
And I should be absolutely intently enjoying my life with my kids, is that 5, 6 beers, maybe a glass of wine, who knows, maybe it's the bottle. So then all of a sudden on a Friday night, and what am I doing at home? I'm at home watching sport on the couch.
Yeah.
And then what happens from that? It's not a huge night, but I go to bed with, bloody hell, an extra 2,000 calories in my guts. The next morning I wake up and I'm a pretty useless version of myself, particularly for the morning. And the kids want to do stuff and Dad's just easing into it. He's not properly hungover, but he's not at his best. He's nowhere near at his best. He's probably running at about 70%. I am wasting these golden years of my kids' youth, 6, 4 and 1, and all they want to do is stuff with mum and dad. And right now, I feel like I'm wise enough to know that if I advance 10 years, look back and be like, geez, you're going to regret that, mate. You are absolutely, it's going to be your biggest regret.
Yeah. I just want to applaud you and anyone who takes the time to stop and go, I need to assess my relationship with alcohol, as I have done over the years. I'm a classic grey area drinker, so not so much an alcoholic, but there are times when the consumption of alcohol is abuse.
Yep.
And I think for you on a Friday night, it's just that because you're so heightened all week and you have to be on all week. I get it. You want that. It's almost like oblivion. So you don't have to think. You don't have to worry about anything. You don't have to cope with anything.
Yeah, it's just about, I'm not about to say, I'm off it, I'm not drinking anymore. But it's about having a relationship where I can have 2 beers on a Friday night. And that's it.
That's it.
Because I don't need any more. There's no difference. The difference for me from 2 beers to, say, 7 to 10 beers is the next day I'm useless. And what the hell is the point of that? So I can hurl abuse at the sport that's happening on TV on a Friday night? Nice. That certainly pleases my wife. She's very attracted to that. He's yelling at the TV again.
I do want you to have a chat with a friend of mine who specialises in this area. So I've taken the liberty of teeing this up for you. If you're open to having a conversation with her about alcohol, and it is essentially a poison, and what that might be doing to your body by putting that sheer volume of alcohol in your body at one given time.
Right. Okay. You're not stitching me up. Duff Man's not about to cruise in, is he? It's all over.
No,
but thank you for this, because this is I'm 39 years old as well. It's a next stage in my life.
And I just don't want you to feel you're alone in this, because alcohol abuse amongst men, women in particular, is a thing. And I think there are more and more people just who are sober curious, what they like to say. So not necessarily I'm never ever going to drink again, but they will definitely take steps towards cutting back. Let's go to Anonymous. Your husband was a bit of a drinker. Okay. Talk us through your story.
So he's been sober for over a year now. He was a heavy drinker, and I always didn't think that it was an issue. Obviously, family history, always had drinking in the family. Fell out the tree and kind of realised that needed to make a change. And not only has it been great for his health, but obviously relationships around him have just improved. So I think to me, I'm so proud of him, and it's changed our relationship. It's helped us and kids, everything like that. Energy levels are through the roof. But for me, it's really difficult to normalise the fact that someone chooses not to drink, and finding options for him. He's been through all of the different zero alcohols and found something that he likes, so that when we go out somewhere that it's a beer with zero alcohol, he can still drink and yet feel normal because you've got a stubby holder in your hand with a beer. So that when you go out, people kind of judge you and look at you like, oh, I'm going to have a zero beer, mate. Like, what's that about? So I'd love to see that be normalised more.
Can I ask you what it's felt like to have your husband back?
Amazing. I've got my best friend back. Sorry, I didn't realise how much it would impact me. But, yeah, it's so good to see the best version of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you should be super
Sorry,
proud.
not good radio.
Oh, no. So I'm just thinking, Anonymous, because we're pretty stubborn creatures, and especially when you say that, you know, you've spoken to him and he says, I'm fine, I don't have a problem. I've been having the same arguments as well. So it's, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And it came to a point where I had to get my kids involved because I just couldn't do it anymore, because that person was not the person that I fell in love with, that's for sure. And I just couldn't do it anymore, so it's hard to get kids involved. But yeah, I'm so grateful that they did help. God, I hope they're not watching, listening. So, but yeah.
And one more
it's
quick
been
one.
an amazing 12 months.
Did he go into it thinking, I'm never going to drink again, or I just want to scale it right back and see what happens?
Yeah, that was the intent of, I'm just not going to have some beers for a while, and then realise that he felt so much better. He will, on occasion, like there's been times where he's asked for a zero beer and someone's given him a normal one. He's like, oh, well, that's okay, no worries.
Yeah.
But he hasn't fallen back into that cycle of, oh, I'll just have another one.
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference, is knowing that there is a zero beer that he can have that makes it easier. It's an easier transition because you're not just quitting it altogether like with smoking, for instance.
Oh, I'm glad and honest you didn't say that someone slipped him a beer and then all of a sudden he turned into Frank the Tank or something.
I know. We're going in the quadrant, we're going streaking.
Chloe, you, my love, 1 year sober. How good?
Yeah, just over a year now, actually. About a year and a half now. I started, same thing, drinks on the weekend. You know, I unfortunately drink like an absolute fish. So just, started drinking, then it turned into, you know, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then all of a sudden I was, you know, getting sort of plastered every single day of the week. And I went, I need to sort of step back and assess here, and I sort of cut down my alcohol consumption, and then I sort of noticed how sort of, I guess, annoying you can be when you've had a night on the grog, and, you know, how much it affects you from watching it from other people's perspectives. You know, you sit back and you go, oh, man, you know, people do make some horrible, horrible decisions. I don't want that to be me anymore. So why am I actually even drinking at all?
Yeah.
I'll just cut it. And I do not miss it. You know, some people go, oh, I miss having a drink. I do not at all.
Yeah.
You know, it's made me feel so much better. Mental clarity is at an all-time high. I see the world in such a different way now. All my relationships with everybody are so much better because I don't, you know, I've not had a big night on the grog and then lash out the next day, and, you know, when your emotions are a bit all over the place and you're feeling a bit hungover. So, yeah, it's definitely a hard one to kick, though.
Chloe, I've never, ever met a sober person who has said this has made my life worse. Not one. Every single person that get sober says it has infinitely improved their life. So well done to you. I think that's an amazing effort.
Thank you very much.
Oh, there you go. There's some great stories coming through as well about how much better it could be and how people can absolutely genuinely improve yourself. And look, I've said that, and I've heard of people as well that go down that path, and that is, I want to reduce, but then you end up just completely quitting.
Yeah.
So I want to improve my relationship with alcohol. I haven't said that I'll completely quit and go cold turkey because I don't trust myself to have some sort of dangerous blowout as
But
well.
you also don't want to put that pressure on yourself either because, people are watching, particularly in your job, so you don't want to have to set yourself up and say, I'm never drinking again. Well, you may well, but it's worth exploring to see, okay, do I want to significantly cut back or quit altogether? It's worth asking that question of yourself.
Yeah. So, for example, I'm 40 this year.
You look good, mate.
Well, no.
God, you look good.
My point is...
Was that your point?
No, my point is that there'll be a hangover.
Yeah.
I'll have a 40th and we'll have a couple of drinks. I just don't want to do stupid things.
Let me throw this into the mix for you, and it's something that you probably never have considered. Women, when they go through perimenopause or menopause, alcohol impacts them so much worse than men.
Yeah.
Like you throw all the imbalance of hormones in there and it becomes a real minefield.
Yeah.
Not that I would know.
13 24 10, we're talking about, it stemmed from me trying to improve my relationship with alcohol. We've had some fantastic calls coming through. Julie, good morning to you.
Look, I just wanted to ring and say thank you for finally bringing this topic, out into the public and speaking about it. It's such a Aussie sort of culture to go out and socialise but have to drink and then people go, why aren't you drinking, and having to explain all of that. So I just really wanted to ring and say thank you so much for talking about it this morning.
Oh,
thank you, Julie. But you're right. I feel like that as well. And I can't say this enough. I'm not trying to, really get rid of alcohol or anything like that. It is an Aussie culture thing, though, isn't it? It's a weird, which is fine, and I've always grown up with it. And I played footy, and we had some success, and it was a lot of fun, sort of mixing it with alcohol. Sometimes you take it too far, but also it feels like it's very much an Australian thing.
And also, Julie, Hayesy, there's a lot of shame involved in putting your hand up. Sometimes it's still to this day in saying, I think I might have an issue here. So I think the more we normalise it, Julie, the better off we'll all be.
Yeah, and to be able to talk about it openly and because I think there's a lot of people out there that are silently suffering about it.
Yep.
And so, like I said, I just wanted to say thanks for talking about it.
Oh, good on you, Julie.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for calling.
I had someone say to me once who I had a bit of a drinking issue and said, I actually like myself when I don't drink.
Yeah.
And that was so powerful.
Yeah.
Because it can be a real spiral to go down that path.
You said that before. I can't imagine something is more true. No one has ever given up alcohol and regretted it.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense.
My God.
You won't find someone.
Yeah, exactly. I have a really beautiful friend who works in this space. Her name is Isabella Ferguson. She's a registered counsellor specialising in alcohol. And I just thought if you were a tiny bit worried, maybe it might be worthwhile to have a little chat. So we say good morning to you, Bella.
Good morning.
Does that sound familiar, what we've just described to you?
It certainly does, and particularly just the age group, when we're hitting our late 30s, early 40s, we've got young kids, we start to feel it a bit more. So we're looking to make some changes.
Yeah, for me, Bella, it's not. I'm not saying I need to cut back completely. I really enjoy a beer. I think I'm abusing it, particularly on a Friday night. I'd love to be able to sit there and have 1-2 beers, and that's it. And that's completely it. And then I go to bed feeling good, I sleep well, and I get up the next day at my absolute best. At the moment, for no particular reason, it's 7 to 10, maybe sometimes more. And for what reason? And it just ruins my weekend. And at the moment, I certainly don't have a happy partner as well. So, it's an interesting time of my life.
Yeah, it's a familiar story. I hear it a lot, but good on you for thinking about it and thinking about, what changes you could make to try and, just feel better.
And Bella, this is a question that I often ponder. Are there two types of people in this world? Is there one type that can have 1 or 2 drinks and then their brain says, no, that's it for me? And then is there another type, like Hayesy and I can be prone to just binge drinking? Is it the way you metabolise alcohol? What is it?
I don't think it's the way you metabolise it, but I think it's just that they're definitely two camps of people, and you're right with the way that you've summarised who they are, what they are. Some people can just have one or two, but there are reasons around genetics, about how early we started drinking, and our emotional reasons, so why we might be drinking. And if we just keep on behaviourally exposing ourselves to large amounts of alcohol over time, naturally our tolerance is going to increase, and it's just going to be harder to pull back.
Yeah, and me telling my wife, Bella, that the reason I'm doing it is because I'm a really fun guy isn't working at the age of 39 when we first met when we were 25.
And so for someone like Hayesy who has gone, all right, this is a bit grey area for me, what would you recommend to him to start by cutting back?
Gosh, there are so many ways to do this. I think it's really useful to plan, say, a 6-week period where you are setting yourself some goals around alcohol and then almost treating it like an experiment where you're noticing, are you breaking your moderation goals? How much are you having? What are the circumstances around you drinking too much? Is it around certain kinds of friends? Is it when you're a certain kind of day? Are you stressed? Are you emotionally drinking? And just kind of try and learn what is going on for you.
One more quick one from me. So why do we sleep so poorly when you have a few drinks? And it doesn't even have to be that much. It can be 1 or 2 glasses of red. And then you get the 2 a.m s, don't you?
You do. So alcohol does not help sleep in any way, shape or form. In fact, I've got some great stats. If you have 1 drink, your sleep quality actually goes down by 10%. 2 drinks, it's 24%. And then 3 or more, it's up to 40%.
Wow.
So when we drink alcohol, this is what happens to our brains. It crosses the blood-brain barrier and it stimulates the pleasure centre of our brain. So we feel that relief, that dopamine, that GABA. But then what happens is our brain notices that there's an imbalance and it releases stimulants, which is adrenaline and cortisol, which stays in your body a long time. And so this is why you only feel that relief for 20 minutes when you drink. The stress hormones take the edge off, and that's why you start getting restless and reaching for your next drink. But what happens with sleep is the stress hormones stay in your body for a long time. So although we might fall into a deep sleep, that's when our body is trying to get rid of the toxins. It's not the good quality REM sleep. So that REM sleep that we get, that restorative sleep that we need to feel physically and emotionally well, it's elusive. It's really disrupted with alcohol.
I know I'm not alone in this. No. Is this how much of a culture thing is this in Australia? Because I feel like you speak to a lot of people, and it's the way that they were brought up and things like that. What do you think, us as a whole, and maybe particular males, what's the relationship with alcohol in this country?
Yeah, it's often very culturally connected with our identity. So, and that's why it's often really hard to break free from alcohol, because it forms part of how we socialise, how we have fun and celebrate, and how we connect with our mates. And particularly men, alcohol is often very much paired with having a debrief, watching sport, and connecting. So to take that element away, which is often our social safety blanket, and has been paired with so many aspects of our life, can be feel really difficult. And there's a great fear of being ostracised. And we're tribal. Human beings need our mates. So it's often the biggest barrier to giving up is losing connection with our friends. But, it's culturally ingrained everywhere we look, really.
Well, I can highly recommend if anyone is struggling with alcohol, they can jump on your website and get the tools that they need to help their...
But thank you. Seriously, there's so much to take from that. And I absolutely know that there's a bunch of people listening right now who are in the same category. So thank you, because you're making a difference.
Oh, thank you so much. And yes, anybody out there who feels they're drinking too much, listen to that voice. It's worth cutting back.
He's been on our screen since the late 80s.
Darling, what are my tennis socks?
In the sock drawer.
Honestly, they were there
there a minute ago.
They were right there in front of you. An Australian comedy icon.
Welcome to my palace, maestro.
Oh, would you like me to paint it? I have a roller in the car.
You will see.
And most importantly, Brett from Kath and Kim.
Oh, I don't know anything about church tables. What if I get it wrong and you go ballistic at me?
As if you're funny. Appearing in the garden with his show Keen. Get your tickets to Fringe Sticks until Sunday. Please welcome Peter Rosethorn.
That's exciting. That's a full introduction.
Do you know what, Peter, as well, just to peel the curtain back, we're lucky that you're here right now because about 45 seconds ago you tried to put the headphones on.
Did you see that? Did you see that?
Almost knocked yourself out.
I missed it. What happened?
Well, I didn't. They seemed to have one that was, I thought it was stuck.
Yeah.
And it was just folding up, so I couldn't actually get them on my head.
Yeah.
And I just, I've been in the biz a long time, but headphones are my chink in my armour. I cannot do them.
Everyone's got their kryptonite, even the
Sure
greats.
have.
Absolutely.
It's killing me today.
Oh, Pete, just listening back to that audio there from Kath and Kim, and sorry, you must get hit up about it all the time.
Oh, it's great, though.
But you were every belittled husband across Australia, weren't you?
Yeah, I was.
Just put in your place week
Still
in,
am.
week out.
I live in the real life.
Yeah.
It's art imitating life.
But it transcended everyone, didn't it, that show?
Oh, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Women loved it, and gay people loved it first.
Yep.
So it got a really kind of groovy kind of notch in the market. And then by second series, it sort of caught on. And it was just a way women love it. So mothers show their daughters. So when people come to my show, it's a real mixture of people. You get old folk like me, and you get lots of young girls, 18 to 25, who want to come and have a look at Brett, see if he's still alive. check out my turkey there.
Brett's still alive.
Oh, look at him. He looks so different.
I've seen a couple of outtakes from that show, and just you guys just peeing yourselves laughing. Was it like that all the time? Like, was it difficult to get through scenes?
Some days the girls were bad at it. They would laugh. They would laugh non-stop for 45 minutes at themselves.
Yeah.
Like so self-indulgent. And the crew are going, oh, come on, this is not that funny.
Yeah.
We'll give you 5 minutes, not 45. What are you doing?
Yeah.
So I think part of it's, when you get super tired, you get fatigued.
Delirious.
And you get delirious and laughing fits. They're probably the most enjoyable laughing fits you can have, I reckon.
Yeah.
Because they're almost like you're getting like a weird, natural drug haze, and you go, so we had a few of those.
You're almost unhinged.
We're
at
unhinged,
that point.
absolutely, but so much fun. So much fun.
We don't want to encourage people to hassle you, but do you enjoy it? I mean, for people, and I always wonder about this for celebrities, and particularly when there's something which is really iconic, and it's so iconic. When people hit you up in the street, do you enjoy it, or do you sort of
What are
shut
they
away
yelling
from
at
it?
you too?
And what's the go-to point? How do you get Peter Rosethorn's attention?
At its peak, I would get yelled at. Hey, Dad Root! From the bus or, a car.
Who told you? Oh, no.
Sorry, kids. What do they mean, Dad? I don't know. I don't know what they're saying. But generally it comes with great love and warmth. So it's just, I just embrace it because, it's really nice. Just people who come up to you every day in the street and go, I love you.
Yeah.
Or my mum loves you, or my gran loves you.
Yeah, that's
it's
nice.
really beautiful. So I just will never back off it. I just love it. I don't necessarily seek it, but I just generally embrace it when it comes because it's a lovely thing to happen.
And the show is Keen at Fringe. What's your first love? I mean, you're a comic first and foremost. Is it stand-up?
Yeah, I never really wanted to be a comic. I never thought I had a friend of mine in Melbourne I went to school with, and he used to impersonate trams and buses, like the noises they made. He was a bit of a square, to be honest. And he decided to take that weird skill he had in his bedroom into a comedy club in Melbourne. This is in the early 80s. And he'd get up there and he'd go, oh, this is the number 72 tram crossing Camberwell Junction. And he'd just go, make some weird tram noise. People go, wow, it's exactly the same. It's incredible. And I thought, well, if he can do it, I can do that. So I got together with another guy. We started busking, and we worked together for a couple of years in the comedy clubs, and then I split and we worked by myself and sort of went from there. And then all my crew, so my area, like 80s crew, I'm talking about Glenn Robbins, the Kath and Kim girls, Rob Stitch, all the D-Generation people, were all working live at the time. Yeah. And that all tipped into radio and TV in the late 80s. So we became the god people, the godparents of all comedy.
And you were a drama teacher. That's classic. That's OG Mr. G, isn't it?
OG Mr. G.
Yeah.
I never got to teach. I left in 1987. I thought I was going to get famous. I thought this is going to be a disaster. So I went back and finished my course up. I deferred after 3 years. So I went back and finished it, but I never taught. I went from Teachers College straight into the Comedy Company, which was a big TV show
Can
back
you
at the
imagine
time.
having Mr. Rose?
Oh, geez. You'd be a favourite. You'd be a favourite.
I'd be terrible at it.
Are we right in saying this is your first return to the circuit?
So 87 was the last time I was here. I was doing a show called Let the Blood Run Free, which was an old live show, which became a TV show in the early 90s. And we were doing a tour of the festivals then. We're on with, there's an act called Doug Anthony All-Stars a long time ago. And them and we were like the picks of the festival at that time. So I haven't done a proper stand-up show in any festival ever until now.
Yeah,
so
right.
it's so much fun. I just love it. I did a week in Perth before I came, and I'm just digging it so much because it's a room full of people who've come to see me, and they are so invested, and it's so much fun. Lots of chat, but I've got lots of material through the years, so I've got plenty to call in when I need it.
And obviously one of the OGs and one of the absolute greats, but be given in this particular space, it's been so long in between drinks. Nerves? How did you go?
No, I've done a bucket load of corporate work in the middle, and so they're harder than anything you can do. And so I'm really match fit, so I'm not scared of anything. Nothing intimidates me, and that's sort of at the top of my game. I'm 62, so I'm not a spring chicken, and I've learned a few things along the way. And I'd loved Adelaide. I was in Adelaide doing Chicago last year, and I just had a ball when I was here. And I'm really looking forward to just being in the part of the thing.
Pete Rosethorn joins us in the studio. You were just saying off air that your daughter's into radio now. But your kids never liked watching you on the telly because you were on absolutely everything growing up.
Yeah, I was dominating for a while. Early 2000s, I was on like Donkey Kong. I had a really good first late 80s, and I came back in 2000. So I was on Kath and Kim, which sort of ran every second year, and I did a lot of Thank God You're Here.
Yep.
For the first 4 seasons it was on. So I was sort of pretty good at it. So I did probably 4 eps in the first series and 4 in the second. And I had a show called Can We Help? There was 2 of us up for these jobs. So there was me and Adam Hills.
Oh, yeah.
And so it was Adam Hills who was going to get Spicks and Specks. And he got Spicks and Specks. And I got Can We Help on the ABC, which was a 6:30 Friday show, which no one ever watched. But I learned at least I learned how to present TV a little bit. But anyway, so I was on that, and they really hated that. But they really couldn't give a rat's ass about any of it.
Oh,
Come on, kids, please, come on, gather around me. Gather around Papa.
Get around me.
Please.
Celebrate me.
Anybody.
Oh,
I'm here by myself. It's boring.
Peter Rosethorn joins us in studio. But just in terms of just how iconic the show was, Kath and Kim, of course.
Yeah.
Do you think right now, where TV's at, there could be another Australian show that comes through like that? Or has it sort of shifted away? Because I feel like Kath and Kim and a few of these shows really we grew up with them.
Yeah.
They help mould us. And I don't know if there's a space for shows like that to come through again in this market. Do you think there is?
I think there is. They sit on the ABC a lot, and people don't really tune into the ABC, so it's a bit of a bummer. But it's because of the platforms. You can go anywhere, any time, and go and watch anything from all over the world at any time you want to watch it. So that the whole medium shifted. So you just don't get those things where the whole family's going to get into. I suppose something like Australian Idol might be as close as you get now. Those big tentpole programs, or the Jungle thing. People go, whatever. Let's go on, kids. This is on. We can all kind of watch this together. Then everyone disperses again. Yeah. So, but I think most of the time people spent their time dispersed through the house, watching their own devices.
Do you reckon the closest we've come to another Kath and Kim was Upper Middle Bogan?
Yeah,
on the
pretty
ABC?
close. Yeah. Once again, Glenn Robinson involved, another beauty. Yeah. Absolute ripper. Yeah, but if they take, they take. It's a bit of a guessing game, I reckon. It's really hard. Yeah. It's like something trending on the internet.
Yeah.
It's something they just come from no one. They pop.
Pete, is TikTok the word you were after there?
Was it? Yeah. Yes, TikTok. I'd say platforms. I just got my head over platforms, which is, I think, from the early 2000s.
Pete Rosethorn, thank you so much for joining us in the studio. It's an absolute pleasure to have.
Thank you for having me. There's a lot on. There's a lot of people in town, so I'm very grateful you said yes to me.
The show is called Keen. It's on at Spiegel Zelt at the Garden. Get along and see one of the absolute icons of Australian TV, Pete Rosethorn. Thank you so much.
I love you all.
It was a big old night at the entertainment centre last night. Kylie was back at her best too, by the way. I don't think she's ageing.
No, she's not.
Oh my gosh.
She's Benjamin Button, isn't she? She's going. I mean, we're not. Let's be honest. We're not under any illusions that Kylie probably has some of the best skincare products going around to preserve her gorgeous looks.
No, Nivea moisturising cream, stuff like that.
Isn't it?
That's what I use. Why are we laughing at Nivea? Great product.
Yeah.
Really great product. Real all-purpose moisturiser too, by the way. Put it everywhere.
That's what...
Face, legs, arms.
Everywhere. That's what
everywhere.
56-year-old Kylie is using to preserve her good looks. Nivea all-day cream.
100%. Back it in.
Had an absolute blinder at the entertainment centre last night. She played Padum Padum, Better the Devil You Know, Spinning Around, Can't Get You Out of My Head. It was all there.
All the classics.
And this really cool light show. I saw a couple of clips on Instagram as well.
Yeah. Hey, this is the big test as well. When someone sort of records it on their phone or something,
Yes.
if you still sound good there,
Yeah.
then it means she sounds absolutely epic in the flesh. That's good. So even from that, I reckon you can tell that live she would have sounded absolutely excellent. Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good on you, Kylie.
40-year career.
It's ridiculous.
Do you remember Kylie in Neighbours?
No, I don't. But what I can say is I've seen Vision. She looks very different now.
Yes.
Yes.
Of course she does.
Well, I'm not talking about, I feel like even a few years ago, maybe 10, 20 years ago, it looked very, very different.
Well,
Did you know, here's a fun
Here we
fact for
go.
you, Producer Flack, and you told me this.
Oh, did I?
What about you throwing back a fact that he's given you back in his face? Right now, go on then.
Well, it's probably going to work because I've forgotten what I've told him.
No, it's okay. I'm going to hold it, actually, because I reckon, the fact that what you told me, it's the first question for the 6:15 vending machine quiz.
Hayesy, okay. This morning when we're chatting in the office, I said to you, how's this for the first question of vending machine? I didn't say it's a fun fact.
Yeah, right.
man.
Okay, so Jodes, here's what you're going to do. You drop this particular question next.
Okay.
Okay? And we'll play the 6:15 vending
want me
machine
to-
quiz. It is Kylie related.
Do you want me to sell the fact as my own when
What's
I do
that?
it?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Here's one I've come up with a little bit earlier.
Warning, the following segment is for mature audiences only and may contain adult content, graphic language and nudity. Not that you'll see it. If easily offended, well, you're about to find out just how easily.
Your father, he's on the naughty list.
Jody and Hazy's Naughty at 6:40.
Naughty. So every now and then we flag an idea in our meeting about something we'd like to talk about at Naughty at 6:40. And the top line was the most Googled word relating to sex in America. And I deliberately haven't read the article because I want you to break it to me.
Okay, here we go.
live.
Google can be such a useful tool. I think the best thing about Google when it comes to education and for youngsters or maybe people who are mature aged is that you do it privately.
Yes.
There's no embarrassment.
No.
The problem with Google, though, is that you're like, what's this little mark here? And Google's like, oh, you're in trouble.
Oh.
You'll be dead soon. You should never Google anything health related because it will tell you the worst possible outcome.
What's this got to do with sex?
Well, you'd be surprised, Jodes.
Okay.
Just talking openly about Google.
Okay.
The most Googled sex questions in America.
Yes.
I got 3 for you.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Here's one. How to last longer during sex.
Ooh.
I hear that, brothers and sisters. I hear that. Pretty reasonable question, and that's one of those questions where you should definitely do it privately.
But
You don't want anyone else to know.
I don't want to answer on behalf of Google, but isn't it kind of out of your control? I mean, it's a physiological reaction, isn't it? If you get too excited, what can you do?
I've been told
Yes.
that there are methods that you can employ to make such events go a little bit longer.
Okay.
Producer Flack can confirm.
What are they?
You know, mate, you know. Here's another one, very broad. What is sex? Okay.
Oh, that's cute.
Hey guys, I've heard about this crazy new thing called sex.
Yeah.
Anyone doing it or having it?
Yeah.
Who knows?
I feel like
Google's got some stuff.
I feel like it keeps the human race sustainable and alive on
100%.
the planet. What is this sex thing that you speak of?
And the most Googled question in America when it comes to sex is very, very broad, and that is how to have sex. The mechanics can be tricky. Am I right? It's not
the mechanics.
The mechanics of it all, like, this, that, where, etc.
I'm going to regret asking this question, as I quite often do at 6:40 each and every morning. How did you learn about sex on the farm? Did you just go out in the back?
Don't. What do you? Hang on. What do you mean? What are you talking about?
Okay.
And also, this is someone throwing outrageous questions like that who grew up in Tasmania. Jeez. At least mine was with an animal, not my uncle.
Coming up with Nova 919's Jody and Hazy.
can confirm both of those stories completely false. Completely false. Can we confirm?
Yes, we can confirm that.
All right, very good stuff. Coincidentally as well, my top questions on Google.
Yep.
Why does Cara close her eyes during sex? And why does Cara always have a headache? Anyway, Nova's Pay Your Bills just around the corner. Do you have a bill that needs to be paid? Register by the Nova Plate and hopefully we'll pay it in a matter of minutes.
Mine is white as every time I bend over the dishwasher, my husband tries to have sex with me.
Yes. Why in this culture, and that is Australia, do we feel the need and do we get entertained by really, really stitching up our friends and colleagues to the point where they look like absolute idiots? Why does that make us feel so good? Why does it really tickle me in a really nice spot?
Well, because we like to connect with each other, and that's our Australian way of connection.
Yeah.
I'm going to aggressively take the piss out of you and make you look stupid, and then you'll like me.
It's endearing.
Yeah.
So we've got a new producer Molly. He's doing a fantastic job.
Yep.
It's a big day for Nova Adelaide today because the two bosses are in town.
Yeah, the two Petes.
Two Petes, Peter Charlton, Peter Colosimo. They've got a roadshow thing where they go around to the different markets and just present.
And they say this is how Nova's going to dominate the market in 2025.
Yes.
And then we go, have you heard our show?
That's a closed-door conversation.
Yes.
So this will be, and no doubt Molly gets a chance to meet the Petes.
Yes.
And big moment, first impressions, all those types of things.
Oh, yeah, Molly's new to the company.
So we almost had you, Molly. We almost had you.
Here we go.
So we ran through a bit of a checklist of what you need to do when you meet the Petes for the first time. And that is, if you see them in a group of two, they are to be referred to as the Pistols. And also, when you meet them individually, because every Pete's nickname is Pistol, then after your first interaction, you need to go, pew, 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 pew. To which Molly thought that was very unusual, but let's just go with it because that's what the Pistols want.
And then coming up on Monday, we'll have a new segment called How Molly Got Fired.
It's a really
set
good
a record. Set a record for the shortest stint as a producer. Oh, I'm out here, guys. Pew, 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 pew. But then we started talking about it as well. And Molly, to your beautiful boyfriend, you nearly stitched him up the worst way possible.
Well, I first need to say it was an ex-boyfriend.
It's an ex-boyfriend.
Sorry.
That is a huge part
I'm out of here. Pew, 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 pew.
Hayesy. This is going well.
It was her ex-boyfriend who didn't speak, English was his second language. Put it that way.
Not a lot of English, which is fine. Yeah. But obviously very easy to stitch him up. He was German-Brazilian. And if you know many Germans, they're very to the point. They're very structured, very serious.
Yeah.
So I told him before he met my parents that it was customary to kiss my dad on the lips when you meet him for the first time.
So this is where it's at. In Australia, we go, that's hilarious.
Yes.
I'm sure in other cultures they go, why would you put your partner under such stress?
And he was like, okay, yeah. Okay, so when I first meet him, this is a really bad accent, but this I on the lips, I kiss him on. Yeah, I'm like, you got to be confident. You got to go straight in.
Yep.
If he senses hesitation, like it's not going to be a good impression. Keeping in mind, my dad hates any sort of touching. Not an affectionate man. So it's just.
And so did he go for it?
He went to do it, and I was like, well, I better stop this before.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's going to go.
Because, you know that awkward moment when your boyfriend meets your dad and they start kissing. And
well, this is like a really weird synergy in this situation because both the Petes love being kissed on the lips.
Oh, back to school.
Yeah.
Back to school. To prove to Dad that I'm not a fool.
Kids are back, Jodes. Yeah. And it's great because education is very, very important. And mum and dad get a bit more me time. Like that's just a side positive thing, I guess.
Yeah. But kids have been trying to get out of going to school since the dawn of time. Like we'll take a little trip down memory lane in just a moment about how you maybe perhaps tried to get out of going to Beckham Primary School, although you couldn't have because you were the only person in your year.
Yeah, they'd notice.
So if you were there,
they'd certainly notice. Have to call off school.
You'd have a whole year missing.
Yeah. 2 years almost. Unbelievable. Saying as the school captain 2 years in a row wasn't there. Who was going to lead the rest of the 7 or 8 kids across the school?
Anywho, so my kids this week have gotten very much wind of the fact that Dad's away. Dad is in on a conference in Sydney. I put that in inverted commas, because God knows what he's up to. Anywho.
Well, it's probably a bit more to digest from that as well.
No. Anywho, he alleges it's for work. So the girls have gone, all right, we smell an opportunity. Mum is quite soft in this space.
She's very vulnerable.
Yeah. So what they've hit
She's
me
a pushover.
It's what they've hit me up with last night when they got home was, Mum, I think tomorrow would be a good day for Summer and I to have the day off.
Okay, are they sick? Are they injured?
No, just a rest day. Really just a let's regroup, because after all, we're 17 days into the school year.
Yeah, got to rest and recharge. Long year ahead.
It's a lot. One of them is trying out for the gymnastics team. This is Peyton. So this was her theory on having today off school. So I dropped them off at Grandma's last night, obviously, because I'm not there in the morning, so Grandma's in charge of them. Mum, please reconsider us staying home tomorrow, because my legs are so sore and I really want to rest for the day before tryouts and athletics carnival, and I won't annoy you because we'll just be at home relaxing and we'll just be at home.
Double down on we'll just be at home point.
Yeah.
It's a very important point.
Because I did mention to her that tomorrow is a big day for Mummy at work because all the big bosses are in town. So I don't have the headspace to have you two just sitting around the house.
But what about the schoolwork?
Oh, they'll be doing that.
Oh, right.
No. Oh, God, don't get this whole situation wrong. Of course they'll be doing schoolwork all day. They won't be watching YouTube.
So there you go. So what you are saying is that they are absolute trailblazers and they are pioneers, because congratulations, girls, you've just invented school from home. Nice. School from home. It's a different generation, isn't it? I mean, you got work from home and now you've got school from home.
SFH.
Do you think this could work?
I don't know if it'll take off with the principal. I'm not sure that they'll be able to sell it. Anyway, needless to say, they've gone to school.
The girls are going absolutely nowhere. Yeah, it's nice. It's a nice little idea. It's in the same bracket as my 4-year-old daughter's idea of pre and post dessert with every meal. Yeah, so that's 6 desserts. every day.
6 desserts.
Yeah.
Well, just out of curiosity, what's she having for dessert?
Oh, it's ice cream. It's ice cream or some sort of chocolate sweet.
We're talking for breakfast?
For breakfast, absolutely. That's what I'm talking about. So if she wakes up at 5 in the morning, the first thing, she's an absolute little sugar junkie, and that is, and is there some way that I can sort of have, I don't know, maybe a bit of ice cream just to get me into my porridge?
Yeah.
But then also, and I blame advertising, apparently a stable meal and a great way to finish the evening is a heap of Nutella on toast.
Yes.
It's chocolate spread.
It's hazelnuts.
My gosh. Right. I'd still rather the girls are schooling from home, to be honest.
Yeah.